Welcome to the Pain-Free Athlete Podcast. I'm your host, Dana Jones. I am a certified personal trainer, and I'm here to help you achieve your fitness goals without pain. In each episode, I'll share tips and strategies that will help you stay safe and pain-free while you're working out. I'll also interview experts in the field of fitness and pain management. So if you're ready to learn how to stay active and pain-free, then subscribe to the Pain-Free Athlete Podcast today. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Pain-Free Athlete Podcast. I'm your host, Dana Jones. Today, I am joined by Lori and Jill. They are the co-founders of the Inactive Company, a sleep performance brand revolutionizing rest and recovery for athletes and everyday performers. With decades of leadership at iconic brands like Spanx and Starbucks, Lori and Jill combine business acumen and a passion for wellness to deliver practical, science-backed solutions like the innovative Inactivators Sleep Mask. So get ready for their insights on using sleep as the ultimate tool for peak performance and pain-free living. Welcome to the show, ladies. How are you?
Thanks
Thank
for having
you.
us.
Yes, doing well. Thanks, Dana.
So you were all doing big stuff, and then you decided to make a transition. So why the transition?
Well, Lori and I met. We were, while we were on the executive leadership team at Spanx. And we both had pretty high performing careers building brands, products, and audiences for others worldwide for a really long time. And honestly, we were exhausted. We each have a lot of kids. We are sort of weekend warrior workout people. We also bonded over SEC football. Sorry, I had to get that in there. Both graduated from the University of Georgia and we're high performers and kind of grew up in the era of sleep when you're dead, which is no longer a thing. As we know now, it's more important to take care of yourself. And we were constantly comparing notes, like trying to outbuy each other, and even got a little competitive on, buying melatonin or taking a weird gummy or like buying the most expensive pillow. We were traveling around the world, building businesses. And so it was always a conversation. And when we reconnected after we had both, left Spanx for a couple of years and started our own consulting companies, Lori had this great idea. She goes, I've got it. I really actually have an idea for us to sleep better. And I am going to revolutionize and reinvent the sleep mask, very much like Sarah did for the girdle with Spanx. And I want you to do it with me. And that's how the Inactive Company was born.
That's awesome. So, Lori, why sleep masks?
We had spent so many years developing other products for other people and companies. And many times I would ask myself, does the world really need this? And I, after Spanx, as Jill said, was consulting with a lot of consumer goods startups. So I would see a lot of, and I did when I was at Spanx as well, but I would see a lot of great ideas from different people. And the sleep mask was brought to my attention by sort of a prospective entrepreneur. But what that person wanted to do with it was just put some interesting, cute sayings, print those on the front of the sleep mask. And I said, we have a huge opportunity here if we just innovated this product. It's 100 years old. It's never really, no one has ever cracked the code on innovating it based on the science of sleep. So why don't we just look at that, look at sleep, take it apart and put the sleep mask back together as we know how based on all of our years of experience. So we knew a few things, darkness, getting complete darkness is the number one factor for helping to signal your brain and your body to sleep better. So in the development of the mask, there was a huge opportunity to really develop something ergonomically fitting, but everybody has a different face size and a head shape, and so how would we do that so it would fit you, it would fit Jill, it would fit, a football player in the NFL? All of us could equally gain 100% darkness by wearing the same mask. And then the second thing was temperature regulation, enabling your body to sort of cool down, if you will, really regulate the temperatures will allow you to sleep longer as you go through your circadian rhythm and your body temperature begins to rise. So what can we incorporate to help keep the face temperature slightly cooler? So people, first of all, aren't sweating, because we got a lot of complaints about that and just being hot at night, but also to just trick our brain into thinking that it's still nighttime, allowing us to sleep longer. So what was out on the market were either, very flimsy, if you will, silky, good looking sleep masks, but it laid across your face and it didn't really mold to your face, or very hard foam masks that were just straight up uncomfortable, or kind of over engineered larger mask contraptions that, just were difficult to sleep in, especially if you were a side sleeper or even a stomach sleeper. So we, tried to solve the problem of sleep by providing an accessible, portable, and science backed solution that really would fit anybody and be simple. And I thought that was a home run if we could accomplish it. So that was the goal, and that's what we did. And for me, solving a big problem that really was a problem for a lot of people is why entrepreneurs should exist. Like let's solve a real problem and do it the best we can. So that's what we did.
That's awesome because as somebody who's worn pretty much every sleep mask, I haven't tried yours yet, so there's hope.
Right.
I have struggled because my eyes are slightly larger. And so that's also a factor as well, because some of the masks will push on your eyelashes if you happen to open your eyes a little bit too much while you're sleeping. I know that's a little creepy, that yes, but I have a little slight opening.
Not creepy.
And they do get, and as you or hit a woman of a certain age, then everything becomes overwhelming, especially when it has to do with body temperature. So that definitely creates some
Absolutely.
issues.
Well, I should show this to you because, it looks simple, Dana, and we know that, we acknowledge that, but that's kind of the brilliance. But what we did was, and I don't know if you can tell how I'm showing you, but we wanted to make sure, and other masks have done this now too, but we made a
With the
concave
cut.
indention and a large area to accommodate your eyes and your eyelashes. Not only eyelashes, but we also found a lot of our wearers that had trouble sleeping could get a little PTSD, if you will, under the sleep mask. People aren't used to
Mm.
wearing something over their eyes covering their face. And so just being able to open and close your eyes, even if it is under the mask, was helpful. So, we wanted to, this is it kind of shows you how easily moldable the mask is. It's super lightweight, it's ergonomically designed, doesn't have any strap hardware on it. And the strap should fit most, people's heads. If it is a little snug for somebody, you can easily self adjust this high performance elastic. But there were a lot of complaints. People had a lot of opinions about, if I'm going to put something on my face over my eyes at night, it better do these 100 things. And so that's what we were hoping to accomplish.
That makes sense. So what do you do? Like, how do you get statistics for this type of thing, other than, I guess, sleep studies?
Well, so we took it upon ourselves once we decided, okay, we're going to do this. We actually put ourselves out there, networked with, and met with many sleep scientists, sleep experts, sleep clinic. We worked with the Emory University's Wounded Warriors Sleep Clinic program. We were involved, participated in an IRB study with veterans. We got ourselves invited to the Harvard Medical School Sleep Symposium, where we listened to literally the top sleep doc in the world talk about that. And so they shared a lot of information with us at the same time that sleep was really starting to become published and a top conversation. I had actually chaired the American Heart Association's Go Red campaign, where in the middle of the year, they had changed their Super Seven, which sort of are the seven health attributes that you should really be paying attention to in your life to stave off heart conditions, heart attack, that kind of thing. They literally changed it to the essential eight, and number one was sleep. So, we had access to that information. And while we were speaking to everybody, they would share their information with us, but we became aware very, very quickly of the things that needed to happen to help yourself sleep better. So, the four major things that all the statistics were pointing to were complete blackout, so that your brain can signal the production of melatonin, which actually helps you fall asleep. Temperature regulation for your body as your circadian rhythm rises and falls. So we incorporated temperature regulation into our mask. Comfort, which causes a lot of people to wake up. And Lori showed you that ours, the mask is hardware free, so you're not waking up at all. And then also routine. So helping yourself get into a routine, because there is this sort of Pavlovian effect that happens. All the docs will tell you, try to stick to going to sleep and waking up at the same time. Make sure you're getting enough sunlight. Make your bed a safe place, all those types of things. So we had a wealth of information that we were introduced to.
So, what difference does a mask make as opposed to other things? Because obviously, drugs, like not taking drugs, is lovely.
Yes,
And getting yourself into a habit and not having to deal with whatever it may be, hangover from the different things or eating or all the crazy stuff that comes from prescribed drugs as well.
exactly.
What is the difference for somebody who says, I just put blackout tape on my TV and I turn off my phone or I leave it in another room? So, what could be the difference?
It's not the silver bullet by itself for everyone. We wouldn't pretend to say, put this on, you will get 9 hours of sleep every night, regardless of anything else happening in your life. However, it's also sort of like the little black dress. It is such an easy and affordable solution everybody should have in their arsenal. Going back to science, consistency, as Jill said, is one of the key factors in getting more and better sleep. So, what's really nice about wearing a sleep mask, particularly a sleep mask that accomplishes the key four factors, is that it becomes the beginning of the evening in a consistent manner for your brain and your body to say, "Oh yeah, it's time to go to sleep." It's as simple as that, really. So, you put on your mask and you're blocking out the entire world. Doesn't matter if the red light is still on your video screen. It doesn't matter if your phone lights up because someone sends you a middle of the night text. It doesn't matter if you are sleeping in any different position through the night, or if you are not home and you're not in your very expensive sleep bed, with all the controls in exactly the right manner. You can signal your body, you can create, a habit or a ritual, if you will, a routine that is telling your body it's time to go to sleep. And that works. So you add in the fact that it's helping to achieve the functional parts of better sleep, like complete darkness, like temperature regulation, like comfort, then it's a no-brainer.
That's good. I mean, it makes sense to me because you're dealing with athletes and they're traveling and they're at hotel rooms where they can't necessarily control whether or not there's a light on the smoke detector or from the hallway or different things. And so this is something simple where I don't have to bring my mattress or all the things that may travel with certain people because they are trying to reach for comfort.
And as far as pain goes, because we know you talk a lot about that, Dana, my husband, for example, uses this for migraines and
Mm.
other headaches. I mean, it's just like a little very slight hug for your face that kind of also contributes to signaling pain receptors to calm down. Pain is always in cycles, as part of a cycle, and you have to kind of interrupt pain cycles. Well, this could be for many people a tool to help interrupt that pain cycle. Just that little slight hug, the complete security of it is okay, to bring the cortisol down, to give a wearer the level of comfort. And then once you start getting better sleep, obviously just sleep in general is a great antidote for all sorts of pain. Reducing inflammation that causes pain, releasing growth hormones that then help release pain, etc. I mean, lots of great things can happen to make your body feel less pain or to interrupt pain cycles when you're sleeping better.
Well, and that's the biggest thing for most chronic pain sufferers when we start hitting into that lack of sleep due to either worry or the actual pain, then it just increases the anxiety. And then you hit this horrible cycle, which is like the worst hamster wheel ever that you can't just jump off. And there are a lot of times that I just prayed for sleep because of the fact that there was just no way that I was going to get any, or I was terrified that I wasn't going to get any. So I can see how that would have been helpful at that time. So what are some of the surprises in developing this? Like you said, it is a very simple type of device. And how does that what are things that you're finding out aside from being connected to all these athletes, like, all over the place, which is kinda neat. I don't know if you saw that as one of the things that it was going to be marketed toward, or if you targeted athletes because you knew this was something that would work.
We did.
That
Oh, well, our hypothesis was that high performers would be early adopters, and we started launching right before COVID, and so it was really, difficult to reach everybody, in a mass market approach, especially for a startup. So we really thought that addressing the high performance athletic market, professional and collegiate sports in particular, would be they'd get it, and they did. You walk in the room with a head performance or train athletic trainer person for a team, and it was a 3-minute selling conversation. I mean, they understand and they get it. They can't coach in the bedroom. And so they feel helpless in helping players get better sleep because they understand the benefits. And so giving a tool to players on a team to help them sleep is super important. And we also, the other surprise was we found that we interestingly have the ability, our logo is on one side of the mask, but on the other side, we started putting team logos on to the strap of the mask as well with the team's permission. And that instantly, especially for professional and collegiate athletes, becomes a huge benefit because it's now performance equipment that's team issued that you should wear. There's kind of this inherent respect for the product because the team thinks it's important enough to be team equipment. And so everybody caught on to the same memo. In addition to athletes, military market, high performers, really life or death, first responders, medical, the whole healthcare market, actually, all healthcare professionals, but then even patients and caregivers were benefiting. We targeted 4 or 5 specific markets to start. And then as we kind of grew into it, the mass market sort of woke up, if you'll forgive the pun, to the fact that of how important sleep is. And, our direct to the consumer business really started to blossom as well. So that, great surprise is that everybody was starting to really value sleep as a performance tool and a health tool in general.
and that it really sort of is this basic, accessible, approachable analog tool that's not technology driven. That was
Yes.
probably one of the biggest surprises. So when we were actually in the room with the players, the athletes and the professional players, who, believe it or not, they have access to anything that they could ever want or need from a technology standpoint, and they said, just give me a simple tool. I don't want anybody monitoring me. I don't want to take drugs. I don't want to know. And a lot of them still keep notebooks because they like to recreate how they feel and how they actually perform, and not what an indicator is telling them that they should do. So that was a huge surprise and validator that it's okay to have access to a tool like this that's not plugged in somewhere.
Well, and I know what they're talking about because even for me, I sleep on a Sleep Number bed. And sometimes I'll get a score and it's like, "You scored a 95," or something like that, and I'll wake up in the morning, I'm like, "I feel like trash." Bully on me for not moving. I still
Yes,
didn't get
you're
good
wrong.
sleep.
Yeah, yes.
So, I'm sure and there's always jokes about, like, the Garmin device talking about body rest and all that stuff is great if it works, but if it doesn't work, then you're kinda out of luck. And again, this is something super simple, and in terms of packing, like, for traveling, I just make sure I have one, you just tuck it in your bag and you're good to go. You could use it on a plane. So there's all these nice attributes of having something so simple because it will mean something later. And I know we've talked about it because I think at the first time when we kind of met, I was talking about the Tour de France because all those cyclists, I
Yeah.
mean, it is an effort to move those teams, and they have mattresses and they have blue blocking lenses and all this stuff because they need their sleep. They don't have a tremendous amount of time and they're riding hundreds of kilometers a day. And so it's one of those things that's very important for athletes is to make sure you get that rest, especially if it's a consistent effort. And it's one thing for football because you're playing once a week, you do have practices, you have a little time off, but when you're a cyclist and you're doing a 3-week tour, and that's the thing is like as soon as you're tired, then you get sick, and then all of a sudden you're not riding
Exactly.
anymore, and that's costing you money or messing up a contract or whatever.
Well,
What
and
have
there
been
was.
some of the biggest hurdles that you have?
So I think one of the biggest hurdles has been getting people to accept that something simple can be helpful and based in science. Some people just sort of don't believe it. Why would you're asking me to spend only the same amount of money as I spend every week on getting coffee, shouldn't it cost more and shouldn't it be more involved? And so, you know, it's not, it's just not that hard. And there's trying to explain the science and really get people to get that has been a little difficult at first. And then the other thing is really, despite the fact that the average size head of a human being, male or female, varies by, I think, 2 inches. It might be, I'll have to get this recommitted to my memory, but it's like 2 and a third inches or something. Two and, yeah. Um, the
Yeah,
strap
one size
matters.
all is not
The
one size.
strap, the snugness, like some people like a little more pressure, some people like a little less pressure. It's not just so it's not talking about necessarily the circumference of the head is not the problem. It's really about A, getting people used to feeling something on their face at night and being okay with that. And B, the amount of pressure that is kind of a personal preference. And so, we say that you have to try it for a week and just keep wearing it and see if you can adjust to it. If it's just such a strange thing for you to put something over your eyes at night, you will get used to it.
Was this something did you wear sleep masks before you did this?
No, when
It
this
never
person,
occurred to you?
like Jill said at the top, lifelong insomniac, always concerned about my lack of sleep because I could see it affecting my performance as an athlete and as a business person and as a mom. I could tell when I wasn't my best because I was exhausted and that I wanted to solve that problem for myself. And so, when I saw the sleep mask though, just the light turned on. I mean, it's just like, wait a minute, is that simple? So, it wasn't something that I was even really, it wasn't on my radar at all.
That's good. That's great. Well, I'm convinced.
Yay. We'll get you one for sure.
That would be great. Well, I have been wearing them because I was a migraine sufferer, and that was one of the things that was always coached was that idea of dark room, cool room,
Mhm.
because sleep is a priority. And I've had the hardest time with masks, like I said, because of my eye size. And also, I'm a side sleeper. So the really super soft ones, when you turn over on your side, they end up, on your ear. And then the hard ones are hot. And sometimes I'm hot at night, sometimes I'm not. So it's one of those things that's kind of frustrating. But this is a nice option, I have hope.
Good. Well, we hope it will be kind of the centerpiece for your sleep routine. And, just like we said, not everybody's sleep routine is going to be the same. There's not a universal sleep stack that suits everybody and helps them sleep better. But something like a mask could be that initial piece and then add one more thing to it, wake up consistently at the same time and or go to bed consistently at the same time. Either of those can give you a helpful start plus complete darkness to getting better sleep. So we'll
That's
make sure
awesome.
you get one.
Thank you so much. So how do people learn more? Where do they find you all?
Our website is inactiveco.com. We're also on, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, any and all of the above. But please go to our website and check us out. And for your listeners, if they will use the code SLEEP25, they can actually get 25% off their purchase plus free shipping.
Thank you so much. That's very generous. Yay.
You for having us.
Yes, thank
I
you.
appreciate it. I will
Thank
put
you.
all that in the show notes. And ladies, thank you so much for joining me, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you. Sleep well.